The bounty hunters, the dauntless. At first, Centris looks like a planet with multiple rings. Then, as they receive a flight plan and swoop near it, becomes apparent that there are no rings at all. It's a huge number of space stations and ships, as many as grains of sand upon a beach. They swoop around the world as they follow the flight path, and the world goes from what looks like temperate planet to a technological powerhouse. There are so many streetlights that it's as bright on the night half as it is on the day half. The planet isn't paved over or anything like that, but the population is so absurdly huge that it can only be considered a city planet. A huge amount of the space is used for the gardens that not only pretty it up, but openly devour the heat produced and purifies the air. Pukey explains as he waves his hand to regard the whole thing before taking a breath. This is an ecumenopolis, a city world. In particular, there are many thousands of city-scale spires standing close to each other that work like terraces that the actual cities are on. Each layer of each spire has a population rivaling any major Earth city, and each spire has hundreds of layers. That's also not counting the sheer amount of permanent residents in the thousands upon hundreds of thousands of space stations and the temporary visitors and the sheer amount of transport. And somehow the population isn't high enough to fulfill its goal of administration, Madame Stepanova asks, and Pukey nods. Yes, it's so bad that the corruption gumming the wheels is also what's keeping the wheels upright. There are too many packed into too tight a place to keep out the malicious actors and not enough people to actually do the job it's been assigned. Strange paradox, isn't it? I've seen this kind of bloat before. It's usually right before everything falls apart. Often. Still, this is where the eyes of the galaxy tend to look, and this is where most of the money goes. Pukey answers. Air farce. What's our ETA? 10 minutes. We spend a couple hours around the Dauntless to make sure nothing stupid happens, and then it's a 20-minute trip to the drop-off station at planetary speeds. All right then. I think it's time you head back to the Lance. Once we land, the Lance will need to decouple and enter the Dauntless. The chainbreaker is a bit too big to fit in one of the Dauntless launch bays. I see. Thank you for your hospitality, Captain Schmidt. I will take my leave now, Madame Stepanova says and turns around to make her way out. She flickers somewhat and focuses slightly to sense that there's something nearby. Two somethings. It's subtle, but those two assassin girls are still following her around. Good. Smart. Her crew is somewhat off as she enters. Many of them had been examining and verifying the data over and over. She had them rotated in and out of the Lance to make sure everyone got a good look and a chance to poke around for themselves. There had nearly been a fight when a few men from the People's Republic of China had tried to get too close a look at the Crimson Hewer power armor and had severely offended the giant lion shark women wearing the armor. That they had been assured after the incident that it would only have been a light maiming did little to calm anyone's nerves. It had, however, taken a lot of the enthusiasm out of things. Learning that there were many places blades would shoot out from to turn a Crimson Hewer into a mobile blender when she had her armor on had been fascinating and vaguely terrifying. All right, just because we're still riding the chainbreaker doesn't mean we get to slack off. I want the information those sensors are pouring out in triplicate, and I want us ready to decouple and fly off the nanosecond the chainbreaker gives us the code. Understood. There's a confirmation around the ship, and they all watch as they push through some basic clouds into the multicolored lights of the towering cities. How many of them are there? Someone asks, as they look out over the city of cities. It's a city planet. Like a ball of baked dirt is a desert planet, this one is a city. Think about that, Madame Stepanova says sternly, hiding the awe at the impossible scenes. It just doesn't end. All the way to the curvature of the planet and over the other side to where the natural light of the local star drowns out the city illumination, or perhaps they simply turn them off during the day. Either way, the amount of people in this place is nothing short of absurd. How do you get control of this? How does anyone control a situation of this many people? Ling asks in shock as she goes over the sensor data. We ride it. We dance upon it and use its momentum for our own. I only hope those reckless fools on the Dauntless haven't poisoned the well. We have a lot of work to do. Madame Stepanova remarks. With any luck, most of it will be done for us. Basic thesauruses and publicly available information in a place like this is already a lot. The helmsman notes. Don't be stupid. That's what was already sent to Earth, and we were sent out to dig up who vandalized the information. Not confirm it. Ling remarks somewhat sadly. She then mutters under her breath, but Madame Stepanova is both fluent in Mandarin and in possession of an exceptional sense of hearing despite her age. The party will not be pleased with this. The descent is flawless, and within minutes they're given the order to detach as well as a flight plan. One that is followed so exactly and with such focus that the moment the helmsman touches down and powers down the engines, he leans back in the chair in exhaustion. 2 minutes of absolute manic focus and he nearly winded himself. She leads out her crew to the exit ramp near the rear of the Lance and is the first out to find Admiral Cistern waiting for her. A green midget to his right, a harpy with a peacock tail to his left and wearing a ridiculous outfit. She doesn't even fully register that both women are as absurdly proportioned as the aliens on the Chainbreaker, if not more so than the pregnant ones. What are you wearing, boy? Madame Stepanova demands crossly as she walks forward with her cane slamming into the deck. Are you trying to make a mockery of your station? How dare you? This is the height of modern fashion. A gift from myself to my beloved. It's worth more than your wretched government, you ignorant little... The bird woman starts to rant with her tail not only snapping into place, and then flattening and gleaming like polished metal as she quivers in rage. Jacqueline, calm yourself, please. She's just experiencing some culture shock. Aren't you Interrogator Stepanova? Admiral Cistern says with a gentle lace and feather-covered hand on the feathered woman's shoulder. The man's outfit is a cross between an 18th century dandy, but with the oversized wig replaced with a gigantic, floppy hat with an enormous feather rising up from it that matches the harpy woman's tail exactly. There are also a series of rings with rough, hewn jade in the shape of tribal totems on his fingers, and what seems to be a sword belted to his side with a clearly visible handgun opposite. The choker with the skulls carved out of jade surrounding it and the massive emerald skull at the front completes the absurd image. Culture shock. Yes, Admiral Cistern, my crew and I need to both report and be debriefed as to the current situation, sooner rather than later. I told all three of you that the outfit was far too formal for this occasion. But oh no one listens to the help. Sir Philip says, stepping out from behind them all in his butler best. Ah, Anastasia Stepanova. I believe that's your current name, yes? I hadn't thought to ask before. It is, Madame Stepanova says, her grip on her cane tightening at the sight of the man. Excellent. I was worried I was being rude. May I add that Anastasia Stepanova suits you far better than Ivana Petranov? He continues and her eyes narrow at him. But this is not a time for fond recollection. Please follow me. There is a light luncheon available for all of you. Much of what you have will be freshly grown or cloned ingredients, so you may all have a taste of home as well as a sampling of the more local fare to acclimatize you to the delicacies that have just become available to you all. Before we do so, because stalling for any amount of time when Sir Philip is around is generally a wise move if you want the slippery bastard's number, slow his plans and trip him up. He moves fast when he gets going, so you need to roadblock him. How about some introductions? I was expecting the Admiral, not his friends. To my left is Lady Jacqueline Tycanped, Speaker of the Council, he says, gesturing towards the peacock woman who inclines her head imperially, as if there should be a gasp of recognition. To my right is Ambassador Nick Tital of Brule, They were both kind enough to notice that I am frightfully lonely in this big dark galaxy and sought to do something about it. Indeed, Lady Tikonped says as she snaps open a fan that had been hidden in her feathers and hides a smile behind it. Ambassador Tal simply snorts in amusement and smacks him on the thigh in response. As to his outfit, it's the height of Pavarus fashion, meaning really fancy but you can still kill someone in it, and as proper, I've covered my man in lots of pricey rocks. Didn't turn out too bad, Ambassador Tal states before glancing over them all. And the official relationship, Madame Stepanova asks slowly. We are wed, but the formal ceremony waits for his sons to attend. Such a wholesome and charming sentiment, don't you agree? Lady Tikonped says, snapping shut the fan before gesturing grandly to a doorway. Still, we have stalled long enough. All three of us are very busy on the most lax of days, with today being no exception. The sooner we get our little meal and greeting over with, the sooner we can delegate further responsibilities and return to the duties that absolutely require our presence. Yeah, no kidding. I've got several shipments of raw parts that I've been haggling and haranguing to divert to Brule so my people can have something more to work with. Tinkering can't be done without things to tinker with, Ambassador Tal remarks sourly. Surely a mobile scrapyard is far from difficult to divert. Normally, no it's not, but Brule's in frontier space, almost wild space, and it's damn near cruel space. It's far out of their way, and I need to talk them into the benefits of the trip. Apparently, a guaranteed profit isn't enough. How odd. Normally, such people seek profit like it's their lifeblood. Lady Tikonped remarks as all three of them turn together and Sir Philip invites the crew of the Lance to follow with a beckoning gesture. As they begin to leave the docking bay, the door opens and an enormous dark-skinned man walks in. Long dreadlocks hang behind him as his unnaturally large frame bulging with muscle. Lieutenant Blue, what are you doing here? I assumed you were preparing to head out on the Cherry Crush to meet the rest of the rescue and restoration fleet. We're ahead of schedule, sir. I'm reporting an early departure to rescue our man and the descendants of Lacran's colonists. Lieutenant Blue remarks and Admiral Cistern nods. Excuse me, Madame Stepanova begins as she walks up to stare. But what have they been feeding you? Other soldiers? Who are you out to rescue? The details can be discussed over our meal. It is a fascinating bit of gossip. Lieutenant Blue, if you're departing early to rescue your brother, then you best hurry along, Sir Philip says. Best of luck, soldier. Remember that the situation on the ground is shifting and Lacran is a great distance from even the nearest galactic backroad, well and truly within wild space. I know, sir. I'm the backup and I'm weeks away. He then snaps a salute. Sir, permission to disembark? Granted. Godspeed, Lieutenant. Admiral Cistern returns with a salute of his own. The titan of a man turns and departs, the door closing behind him. Is there going to be what that boy was eating in our meal? Madame Stepanova asks to try and get a handle on the situation. Alien steroids. Of course there are alien steroids. Technically, he's been using Axiom to reshape his body. I'll explain the whys over our meal and elaborate in the debriefing if you have further questions.